For years, the Halo community has been asking, where are the ODSTs? We wanted grounded stories, we wanted the fear of being a regular soldier in a Spartans war, we wanted that Buck, Dutch, Romeo energy back. And after years of waiting, Halo Campaign Evolved finally gave us a new ODST, and by the almighty Halo rings, we were let down. It's safe to say Campaign Evolved has gotten pretty mixed reviews overall, but there's one thing almost everyone agrees on: the prequel missions did not live up to the hype. One of the reasons being the new ODST character, Lieutenant Williams. At first glance, William looks like an absolute badass. She's still wearing pieces of her old ODST gear with the battle-worn shirt underneath and even a hell jumper's tattoo. She looks like someone who's been through hell and actually made it out the other side. And to be clear, she's not a bad-looking character, but every now and then the facial animations don't do her any favors. A few expressions come across a little flat during moments that are supposed to carry more emotion. It's a small issue, but still noticeable. Now, to be fair, there were only 3 missions. Nobody was expecting a full campaign's worth of character development crammed into that. But even with that lowered bar, this still underperformed. And Williams is the clearest example of why. I'm not gonna cover the entire prequel campaign. I want to focus on Williams because she's one of the central characters in those 3 missions, and she's definitely where the issues stand out most. Before I get into what went wrong, I want to be clear about what went right, because there's a lot that could have worked. First, she's a new character. That alone explains Halo's universe. More named characters, more perspectives, more of the setting to explore. That's a win no matter how the execution shakes out. Second, the design. On visual glance, she reads exactly the way you'd want an ODST to read. Hardened, capable, a survivor. The problem is what happens the second she starts talking, but we'll get there. Third, her attitude towards Spartans. I didn't mind that she came off unimpressed by them. That's actually a rivalry we've talked about in Halo lore for 20 years, but almost never get to see it dramatized in the games themselves. ODSTs resent being treated like second-tier soldiers next to genetically engineered super soldiers. Finally getting a character who shows that on screen instead of just implying it, that's a real opportunity. And fourth, her backstory. The mention of Tiger Company. Part of the 92nd Shock Troop. It gives her a unit, a history, something specific instead of a generic Marine backstory. None of these ingredients are bad. That's what makes this frustrating. The problem isn't what they gave her, it's what they did with her. Now, here's where I think they missed an easy opportunity. When we return to the Covenant prison she escaped from, that's the perfect moment for Williams to put her ODST helmet back on. Up until then, she's been without it throughout the prequel missions, so revisiting the place where everything happened would have given that helmet real meaning. Instead of just being leftover gear she wears, it could have symbolized her taking back control, almost like reclaiming a part of herself and surviving everything she went through. It also would have made her design feel more complete. The battle-worn armor, the hell jumper's tattoo, the prison she escaped from, it all ties together. Rather than just looking like an ODST, the helmet would have actually tell her part of the story. And now we get to the actual core of the issue, the dialogue. At times, Williams' dialogue is genuinely cringe. And I don't think it's because the writers don't understand what makes a good ODST character. I think it's because they don't trust the player to pick up on the subtlety. So instead of letting her toughness come through in how she acts, how she handles a situation, how she carries herself under pressure, every single line has to announce it. She has to tell you she's hardened. She has to tell you she's unimpressed over and over. And with 2 or 3 missions to work with, there's no room for that to breathe. So it all gets crammed into the dialogue all at once, and it stops feeling like a character and starts feeling like a self-insert, like the devs trying to force her into a badass role instead of letting her actually become one. This isn't just a Williams problem either. This is a pattern across a lot of modern Halo writing. Strong concepts, genuine potential, and then it gets held back by writing that doesn't trust its own material. Now, here's where it really falls apart: her death. Because we only had 2 missions with her, there was barely any time to get attached to this character before the game asked us to feel something about losing her. And when the moment comes, it almost plays beat for beat like a cheaper version of George's sacrifice from Halo Reach. But Reach earned that moment. You had an entire campaign of squad bonding, stakes, history with Noble Team before George went out. Williams doesn't get any of that runway. The emotional debt just isn't paid off. And then there's a bigger problem. Her whole reason for staying behind was to kill the Prophet of Harmony. He escapes anyway, which doesn't just weaken the moment, it retroactively erases the entire point of her death. George's sacrifice changed the mission. It accomplished something. Williams' death doesn't change anything. The villain walks away regardless. A sacrifice that doesn't accomplish its goal isn't really a sacrifice, it's just death. On top of all that, the cutscenes themselves feel rushed, half-baked even. And that's not even the core problem here, but it compounds with everything else. A stronger writing pass might have survived weaker production values, but weak writing and weak production together, that's a losing combination. So let's go back where we started. The Halo community has been asking for the return of ODSTs for years, and this cornball dialogue, a missed unmasking moment, a sacrifice that changed nothing, this isn't what we were hoping for. But here's the thing, the community didn't ask for a perfect character, we asked for a grounded one, and Williams had the design, the backstory, and the setup to do exactly that. She just got let down by writing every step of the way. Here's hoping the next ODST we get actually wears their helmet. Now, if you love ODSTs as much as I do, make sure to subscribe and join the Madama Empire.